The line. The line. It's one of the most basic elements of art. And in this session, I think it should really be helpful for those who want to paint, who want to draw, who want to do anything, because if you can understand the line, it makes it easier for all other artistic things to do, because the line is your basic in terms of painting. You know, you have to think of the sketch you're working with, things like that. So I'm going to focus today primarily on the line, and I would recommend favoriting this because I really think this can help a lot. I put a lot of time and effort into kind of sorting things out, and also towards the end of this video, I'm going to just show some of my drawings and kind of show examples and show, you know, what these lines can do. So anyway, let's get started with it. Right now I'm using Artweaver, and a line, depending on how it's drawn, whether it's vertical or horizontal, creates two different moods. A line that is just simply vertical creates a force, it creates tension due to our perception of nature, our perception of lines in general. You know, when I see this I think of a tree, while this I think of maybe the sunrise or the grass plane or water. So just, it's amazing to me the simplicity that a line can cause. So the idea is, you know, lines create emotions on themselves. Lines do a lot just by themselves, but there's different types of lines and different things you can do with it. So one of the things is contour lines. Contour lines are lines like this. Basically, contour lines are outlines. You have a fish, you have a female back, balloon, hand. Contour lines are simple, and contour lines are usually looked at as the cartoony. When you think of cartoons, this is what you're looking at, is contour lines, which are just general outlines of shapes and apple and objects. To me, I really think there's a lot of power and simplicity, and to me, if you get a chance, just look at Japanese inkins online or Japanese woodcuts, because there's so much simplicity in the line and it expresses a lot of emotion. So these are contour lines, and what I want to do is I'm going to show each different type of line and how they can be combined to create a finished drawing. So a second type of line is implied lines. These are implied lines. They're lines that they form like this. You can see like a bird here. This could maybe be like two eyes. This could be an eye. This is like a fish almost. Implied lines are lines that are not necessarily there, yet you can see in this negative space, this would be positive space, this negative, you can see that it's almost like the shape is forming, like a fish. And implied lines, see, there's would be it. So that, now this is an actual line. So you have implied lines and actual. This is an actual line that I just drew. But implied lines can be useful in terms of creating like hair, shades on hair, or you can use it in other forms, like here's another example. This is a lamp. So you can mess around, but the idea is that line is powerful because it creates an illusion of a silhouette just by lines. And I also believe that implied lines can also be open lines. I'm not 100% sure. I tried looking up on Google, and I think that's what the definition can mean too, where it's like here's the deltoid, here's the arm, where it's these lines that aren't necessarily connected like with the eye, but you get the sense that these lines continue on. I believe that's also implied. But that's implied lines. So you have contour, you have implied lines. And in case I haven't mentioned yet, I'm not really going to draw in this video. I'm just showing techniques. So here's another set. Hatching. Hatching is very important in understanding value, because what hatching does is it creates depth, it creates shadows. This is normal hatching, and this is cross hatching, where you have lines going this way and this way. So you have one line's going that and these are perpendicular at a 90-degree angle to these. So what's important about hatching is I recommend practice in this. Recommend all of the different types of drawings I'm showing right now. I recommend practicing it because it's going to help later on greatly. Rather than going right away into value, like rather than starting to shade like that, you know, I recommend starting doing with the lines because it will help you to understand later on when I get into values and shadows how much this is going to help you mentally, like to perceive things in terms of shadows. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of like, but here you can see like pectoral muscles, and just like the rib cage, kind of these lines make this shadow, this hatching. And I have better examples I'll show later on. But the trick to doing hatching is, or cross hatching is, here's like say one set of lines. The trick is, the more lines you put in that one direction, the darker this area is going to get. And also the closer the lines are, it changes the effect. And I'll show you once again on better examples later on. So that's hatching. It's important to practice that. Then you have another type of drawing, which is reductive drawing, which is basically, this is chalk, or it's supposed to be chalk, and this type of drawing is reductive. In other words, you're taking away what's already there. So if I want to draw a face or something, I'm reducing what's there with an eraser. And you could just mess around with this in terms of what it is and like what, oh man, I could make a skull. Oh my gosh, I would make a skull! Screw the face! I'm a skeleton! I'm an evil skeleton of death. Skeletor, Skeletor. The skeletons are coming to the world everywhere. To the skeleton. That's like reductive drawing, where you're taking away. And this program, Artweaver, is free, and it's really pretty good in terms of the art things you can do. But you can see erasing it, so that's reductive. Few more drawing types. Then you have something. This is really cool. Oh man, I love doing this type of drawing. This is one-point drawing. This is a kind of drawing where you start with the line and you never release from that line, and you keep drawing and you try to draw the shapes and characters and faces. I really like this a lot. And you can see I started right here and it ended about like here, I think, or here. But it's like a person playing guitar, one on saxophone, and one maybe clapping or singing. But I really like this. Try practicing this too. And the thing is, in terms of drawing, like, get loose. I think this is a very good lesson because it'll help you to get more creative, to not be so fearful of, oh, I messed up, or I didn't get that line exactly perfect. And something else that I really noticed is when I started to draw this, and I also drew all these with the mouse. I didn't use the drawing tablet today. But when I started drawing this, honestly, like just doing this type of drawing, then going to a different type of drawing, like the reductive or the contour lines, I found myself getting better. Like even when I practiced on paper, I found myself, it was easier for me to do other types of drawings. It's amazing because it's your brain is being trained to draw in a certain way, and then when you do it a different way, your brain kind of changes things in terms of your hand, in terms of how you do it. It's really interesting. Like you could try for yourself. It should help. Like just trying a different type of drawing style than you're familiar with. Like, you know, instead of just sketching outlines all the time, or maybe doing lines like that, or just practicing different things. But that's one point, and that's kind of my advice on drawing. Okay, so then you have